ready to rock and roll.
I'm going to keep the time on my cell phone. I'll chime in at 3 minutes, 2 minutes left, 1 minute remaining, and so on. I need to share my screen.
This man's eyebrows are
Everyone,
crazy. I keep looking at it. I just want to wax them for him. I don't know. I want to shape him in, fill him out. You know?
For everyone,
The iPhone is recording, and it's like, oh, let's forget that.
I think
Mr. Hiley's on mute, so we can hear it.
4 minutes.
I hope so. I hope he knows.
Post
What team are you?
questions
I don't know.
and share my screen. And I'm starting now, and I'll tell you when the timer begins.
Okay. Hopefully have the questions. Yeah, just don't
Here
look
we go.
at
Share
it.
my screen.
Please don't look at it.
Oh, crap.
I want to do this legit.
I'm not looking. I'm not looking.
All right, 4 minutes starts now.
Go.
Blue, the letter is D.
Is that
Oh,
I don't
that's
know British Prime Ministers.
Here, just as a reminder, I'm sharing the document that we are using. Our shared document with Norwood, so don't write your answers up
Five
at the
is
top.
the leader? Pretty sure? Yeah.
Can everybody see it all right?
Oh, that's oh no, that's operation. Oh, that's Daniel.
Douglas, Dougie,
Oops, one then. That's it.
man black with a mind comp look. It's not the bell jar.
We got 3 minutes remaining.
Okay.
God dang it. Oh my god. What's number 12? Who knows the Bible?
That's
Caroline?
Daniel.
Oh, Daniel. Okay.
What?
Never mind.
Oh.
We already got it.
Supreme Court Justice nominated by FDR.
Douglas? I don't know.
Is it?
I'm just guessing. Yeah. I think so, maybe. I don't know. Ray Bradbury,
I
not
know
about a
Victoria
12-year-old.
Falls.
Douglas. God dang it, dude.
Oh, that's
What's number 15? Is it Burger King for letters?
double blind
Oh,
test.
yeah. First section of the small intestine.
That's the duodenum.
Duodenum. Yeah.
2 minutes remaining.
Harsh legal codes. I don't know any Athenian lawgivers. I have to be honest.
To be honest, they're not a single thing on here.
Yeah.
Always my favorite.
Why is this one so rough?
It's just really
Supreme Court
is.
Justice. I have
Obscure knowledge.
I have over 10, so I think I'm balling.
I think I'm balling. You know 10?
But I know over 10, I think.
Oh, I was gonna say, have you read Sylvia Plath's poetry?
No,
I was
not
gonna
number
say-
10. I have over like
Oh,
like
oh.
10
Yeah,
amount.
yeah. Okay. No, I mean,
Supreme Court Justice.
just guess. Just put it down. Because if you overthink it, it's usually the first one that you think of.
Okay, I'm gonna put that because why not?
Wait, number 7?
Yep.
Yeah, you already have
Seven's
that. Okay, I was
terrible.
gonna say, yeah, no, I know. I was just making sure
1
that
minute.
you got it.
1 minute.
Of course I know that.
6,
Greatest garden.
I'll do 6, I don't know. I wish I knew.
I don't really know of British Prime Ministers.
I can't think of.
I don't know.
Duval.
No.
Okay, I'll put it.
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Okay. Do you know Ray Bradbury novel?
I do,
novel?
wish I knew which one that was talking about. No. Death Stranding. No, that's not it. Don't put that.
10 seconds.
Duodenum. I'm thinking about the duodenum.
5, time's up, time's up, time's
It's a
up.
wrap. See you later.
Yeah.
All right,
Jake writes faster.
let's take a look here.
And thinks
and see
faster
how we
than
do.
all of us.
Just
Just like the books and like the phones and stuff. I don't know this.
Answer.
Yeah, that's the
again, we're
issue.
just
You
gonna
know
go back.
every other
Answer
thing except for the
number
poetry
1
and
was
words.
Drakensberg Mountains.
Oh,
Number 2 was Benjamin Disraeli.
not too far.
Number 3 was dendrites.
Oh, that's what I thought, bro.
Number 4 was Camino Elegies.
I figured that you would have. I was like, is that a dendrite? And I was like, I don't know, Adams.
Number 5, Demeter. 6 was Ducas.
More like
7 was
Okay.
Daredevil.
Yeah.
How was it?
8 is still.
8 was Dawes. 9 is Density.
That's city.
10 is Daddy.
Daddy. What?
God dang it. Yeah, it's a horrible poem.
11 is
It's horrible.
differentiation or derivative or derivation.
I don't think there is very good.
12 is the book of Daniel.
Not like the result.
13
I
is
got
Davy.
that. I got that.
14 is
I
Douglas.
got that. Let's go. Yeah, I got
15
that.
is
job,
double
Lily.
blind.
I got that.
16 is dandelion wine.
Yeah.
17 is drowning girl.
Rough.
18 is laudanum. 19 is Draco.
Draco. Not Draco.
And 20 is divergent.
Oh, that's where you get draconian from.
Yeah.
Ah.
God, draconian sucks.
And
Draconian lawmakers.
looks like we need ours.
Alright, let's see.
We could have thought about that. If we would have used context clues, we could have gotten that. We both have Peppa Pig stickers.
Coach, do you guys in Norwood want to be Team A or
Did you
Team
get
B?
yours from a weird overstock
I
store?
don't know.
No,
Team
it
A
was
or
from
Team
a
B?
book.
A or B? Pick one.
Do you want to go first on that? We'll do B.
B. Cool.
I just figured that you would want to,
Why not?
you know. But I swear to God, if they get the English literature questions right, I'm gonna pee my
Okay.
pants. I will.
Okay. Coach, we at Madeira got 15 questions right in the alphabet round for a total of 30 points.
I think we got a little bit left.
We had 12 for 24.
As long as you
Going
get.
to begin the category round.
Can you say the buzz and I code
Oh my
one more
God.
time?
Sorry, Coach. Yeah, the code is 793
Why is she joining?
011.
Thanks.
Coach, as a reminder, you cannot compete for our team.
No, I just want to watch.
I know, it's fine. Yeah, and please, for those of you that are on Buzzing Live and on Zoom, make sure that I'm keeping score correctly. I don't know if you're familiar with Buzzing Live as I am, but it likes to switch the order of teams if one team gets more points than the other. So sometimes I can misclick and add the wrong score. So just keep an eye out for me. If I mess something up, I'm not trying to like commit foul play. It's just all right. Here we go. American literature. Answer these questions about American authors. Team A, Madeira. Oops. We good? All right. Team A, Madeira. What author posed the question, who is John Galt, in a novel written about Dagny Taggart's attempts to save her railroad company from collectivization?
Ayn Rand.
That's correct for 2 points. Norwood, Team B, your question. What author wrote a novel about the Louisville living Edna Montpelier growing increasingly unhappy in her marriage to Leonce?
What did you say?
I'm saying, do you know?
No, I really don't. I can't
No.
do this not right now. I don't even know. Thatcher?
Madeira, for the
That's
seal.
exactly what I did.
Chopin.
That is correct for 1 point. Toss-up question. Buzzers ready. A U.S. Senator named George Bradford becomes obsessed with the title character in this author's novel, Jenny Gerhardt. This author fictionalized real-life businessman Charles Yerkes as Frank Cowperwood, who appears in this author's novels The Financier, The Titan, and The Stoic. In another of this author's novels, the pregnant Roberta Alden is drowned by Clyde Griffiths. Identify this author of Sister Carrie and An American Tragedy. Renee from Madeira.
Dreiser.
Dreiser is correct. 2 points. The next category is math. Math. 30 seconds for each question. 30 seconds for each question. And the clue is answer these questions about topics you might see in a calculus class. Team B, Norwood. What is the first derivative of the equation 6x cubed minus x? Excuse me, that's incorrect. Let me start over. What is the first derivative of the equation 6x cubed minus 11x squared plus 8x minus 9? What is the first derivative of the equation 6x cubed minus 11x squared plus 8x minus
18x squared minus 22x plus 8.
That is correct for 2 points. Madeira, I'll repeat the question twice for you as well. Team A, Madeira, what is the first derivative of the equation 9x cubed plus 13x squared minus 12x plus 3? What is the first derivative of the equation 9x cubed plus 13x squared minus 12x plus 3?
27x squared plus 26x minus 12.
Awesome. What is the determinant of a 2 by 2 square matrix with top row 12, comma 4 and bottom row 8, comma 10?
Not exactly calculus.
Luke from Madeira. Say that again.
120.
Afraid not. Gonna let the time run out unless Norwood has a buzz. Anything, Norwood? Okay. The answer I have here is 88. 88. World history. Answer these questions about families and dynasties. Team A, Madeira. What prominent family from Florence included Catherine, the queen who supported St. Bartholomew's Day massacre, as well as Popes Leo X and Clement VII?
The De Medicis.
That's correct. Madeira. 2 points. Team B, Norwood. What prominent family during the Italian Renaissance included Cesare and Lucrezia, as well as Pope Paul VI?
I only know the Medicis.
Cool. This is.
Sorry, I'm going to do time for 30 seconds.
I don't
Do you have an answer?
Mr.
Norwood?
No.
No answer.
So we're just
Madeira,
gonna-
yes? Borgia is correct for 1 point. Fix the time. Toss-up. Buzzers ready. One member of this dynasty put down the revolt of the the Muneros, at the request of his mother, Henry II, fought against this dynasty, several whose members had a namesake living. Renee, Madeira.
Von Habsburg.
That's correct. Okay. Fine arts, fine arts. Identify the following German composers. Team B, Norwood. What man composed the Italian Symphony, as well as incidental music to A Midsummer's Night's Dream?
I hate this. German? German? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's a German guy.
Oh, he said it's out. Oh.
Again.
Okay,
Any
go
answer?
ahead.
Beethoven.
Great, not? Madeira.
I could have told you.
Manos is correct.
Different group.
Team A, Madeira, your question. What man composed operas such as The Flying Dutchman and Tristan and Isolde?
Wagner.
Wagner is correct for 2 points. Casa, buzzer's ready. This composer's friend, Frederick Roche, was a dedicatee of his tone poem, Death and Transfiguration. This man only composed 2 symphonies, which he entitled Alpine and Domestic. Stephen from Madeira.
Brahms.
Afraid not. I'm going to keep reading the clue. This composer depicted the adventures of a German folk hero in his tone poem, Till Eulenspiegel's Merry Pranks. This composer included the Dance of the Seven Veils in an opera based on an Oscar Wilde work, Salome. This man drew on Friedrich Nietzsche's work for his most famous composition. Identify this German composer also sprach Zarathustra. Norwood, got a guess?
No.
The correct answer was Richard Strauss. At the end of the fine arts round, I have a score of 46 Madeira, Norwood, 45 Madeira, Norwood 26. Moving on to life science. Identify the following processes. Team A, Madeira. What is the first process of cellular respiration? This process has a net gain of 2 NADH and 2 ATP. Glycolysis is correct. Team B, Norwood. What is the second process of cellular respiration? Pyruvate is converted to acetyl CoA prior to the start of this process.
This is making me want to. Huh?
Rubic acid. No.
It's not. It's the second process.
Yeah.
Not
I don't know.
a, no.
Madeira for the field.
Pep cycle.
Pep cycle is correct for 1 point.
Jesus Christ.
Toss-up, buzzer's ready. This process can be initiated through signal transduction on a FADD domain. A tunnel assay can be used to detect remnants of this process that is also assessed through DNA laterate. This process includes the proteins BAX, BAX, and BAD, BAD, and a cascade of caspases occurs during this process. The model organism C. elegans undergoes this process 191 times, and it is initiated by an increase in P53. The release of cytochrome C triggers what process of programmed cell death? Jacob, Norwood.
Apoptosis.
Correct.
That's good. Just let him read the whole question.
We got
World
28
literature.
points.
Answer some questions about Spanish language poetry. Team B, Norwood. What Chilean poet won a Nobel Prize in Literature in 1971 for collections like Captain's Verses, Canto General, 20 Love Poems and a Song of Despair, and 100 Love Sonnets? Got an answer? Madeira for the steal.
Neruda.
Neruda is correct for 1 point. Team A, Madeira, your question. A Spanish poet Gabriel Garcia Lorca wrote the poem Lament for the Death of Ignacio Sanchez Mejias, who was a member of what profession? Pedro Romero, in Ernest Hemingway's The Sun Also Rises, is a member of this profession in Pamplona.
Bullfighter.
That's correct. 2 points. Toss-up, buzzer's ready. Toss-up, buzzer's ready. The question, what is more feeble than a god, is asked in one poem by an author from this country. Rosario Castellanos. The Traps of Faith was written by one poet from this country about one of its earlier poets, Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz. That poet from this country described a river that goes roundabout, arriving forever, and a willow of crystal, and a poplar of water. What country is home to Octavio Paz? Nicholas from Madeira.
Mexico.
That's correct. American government. American government. Answer these questions from economics. Answer these questions from economics. Team A, Madeira. What term in economics describes goods which are often used together, like peanut butter and jelly? Answers? I'll give it to you. Complementary goods. Norwood. Team B, your question. What term in economics describes how much a change in one variable changes another variable? For instance, how much supply of a good changes when prices go up?
Proportional.
I'm afraid not. Second guess? I'm afraid not. Madeira for the steal.
Correlation?
No, the answer is elasticity. Elasticity. Toss-up. Buzzer's ready. The ISLM diagram explains the shift in the curve, or the aggregate form of this quantity, which is plotted on the y-axis of the Keynesian cross diagram. Murray.
Demand.
Demand is correct. All right. At the end of American Government and Economics round, I have Madeira 57, Norwood 28. Physical science. Answer these questions about astronomical objects. Team B, Norwood. What moon that is approximately 8% bigger than the planet Mercury is the largest moon of Jupiter and the largest in the solar system?
Ganymede.
That's correct for 2 points. Team A, your question. Here. In 2015, the New Horizons probe flew by what largest moon of Pluto? This moon's center of mass is the reason that Pluto was reclassified as a dwarf planet.
A Charon or Charon?
Yeah, Charon is correct. Awesome. Awesome. Buzzer's ready. This astronomical body is the site of the Mazomba impact crater. William Lassell's first discovered this moon in 1846, and it is the only large moon in the solar system with a retrograde orbit. This moon contains geysers that spew out nitrogen gas, leading really north. That's correct. Geography, identify these world capital cities. Identify these world capital cities. Team A, Madeira. The Buddhist temples of Wat Arun and Wat Pho are prominent tourist attractions in what capital city of Thailand? Bangkok is correct for 2 points. Norwood, your question. Team B. The highest capital city in the world by elevation is what city that alongside Sucre is one of the 2 capitals of Bolivia?
Quito.
Nope. Second guess?
Cusco.
Afraid not. Madeira for the steal?
Paz.
Pause is correct. For 1 more. Toss up. Buzzer's ready. This city was formed in 1853 from the merger of 6 small towns in the provinces of Tondo and Laguna. This city is bisected by the Pasig River. Owen from Madeira.
Budapest.
I'm afraid not. I'll continue reading the clue. Bisected by the Passaic River, and a major road in this city is named for William Howard Taft. This city is found on a namesake bay and is part of a metropolitan area containing the largest nation in its country, Quezon City. Identify this city located on the island of Luzon that is the capital of the Philippines. What you got a guess?
Pago Pago?
U.S. history. Identify these U.S. states from notable events that occurred there. Team B, Norwood, your question's up first.
That's the capital of the American
The
Samoa.
Civil War battle of Vicksburg took place in what U.S. state that was the second to secede from the Union during the Civil War?
Pennsylvania? Pennsylvania?
What?
What? Is it us? Is us?
Virginia.
Nope, second guess?
Bro, Pennsylvania.
Or
Need a guess?
Pennsylvania?
Right now? Madeira, is this you? That's correct. Team A, Madeira, your question. The Stonewall riots took place in what U.S. state that was also the site of an environmental disaster in a neighborhood known as the Love Canal?
New York.
That's correct, for 2 points. Awesome, buzzer's ready. This state's Greenwood neighborhood was one of the most prosperous African American neighborhoods in the U.S. until the 1940s. Renee, Madeira.
Oklahoma.
Correct, for 2 points. Going into the lightning round, I have a score of Madeira 67, Norwood 32. And for this final round, I'm just going to do 5 seconds for the questions. Does that seem off to anyone, or does that seem about right?
It's okay.
All right.
It's okay.
No comment means we're going to proceed. Buzzer's ready. All right, here we go. This thinker argued that brain size has nothing to do with intelligence in a pamphlet entitled The Races of Mankind. This thinker studied newspaper clippings and TV recordings to study a nation's guilt and shame cultures during World War II. Identify this American anthropologist who wrote The Chrysanthemum and the Sword. Ruth Benedict. Ruth Benedict. to make it fair on these, if the time runs out and I don't have a boss, I'm just going to move on. So, number 2, Amagat's law expands upon one law developed by this scientist, which discussed the increase in water's volume when certain salts are added. This scientist stated that chemical elements combine in ratios of small whole numbers in his law. Stephen from Madeira.
Dalton.
That's correct. For 2 points. Number 3. Evan Cabot and his half-brothers Simeon and Peter are the central characters in one play by this author. In another play by this author, Mary Tyrone is addicted to morphine and her son. Renee, Madeira.
Eugene O'Neill.
That's correct, for 2 points. Number 4, this conflict saw Peter the Hermit and Walter the Penniless fight at the Battle of Nicaea. Antioch was one of 4 Crusader states created during this conflict that was called by Pope Urban II at the Council of Clermont.
Crusade, the First Crusade.
First Crusade is correct, for 2 points. Number 5. In the bottom left corner of this painting, a knife with a bloody handle can be seen. A box with the artist's name is in the foreground of this painting, which also depicts a man in a turban slouched over in his bathtub. What Jacques Louis David, Stephen Wu?
The Death of Marie.
Death of Marat is correct. 2 points. Number 6. According to the Nez Perce, this figure once served as the moon, but lost that position after he used it to spy on the world. This figure is often called the Old Man, and created mankind out of all of mud. Identify this Native American king and trickster, Renee.
Coyote.
Coyote is correct. For 2 points. Number 7. A bookcase falls on Leonard Bast at the end of a novel by this author in which Ruth Wilcox leaves Margaret Schlegel the title estate. In another novel by this author, Adela Quested fakes the Marabar Caves and then falsely accuses Dr. Nicholas from Madeira.
Forster.
Forster is correct. Number 8. These structures allow carboxylic acids to form dimmers, and they are responsible for the alpha helices in protein structure. Responsible for many of water's special properties are what bonds commonly formed. Renee, Madeira.
Hydrogen bonds.
That's correct. Number 9. In Shintoism, the Heat River becomes this substance after the defeat of Yamata no Orochi at the hands of Susanoo. Renee, Madeira.
Blood.
Blood is correct. Number 10. Thomas Hendricks and William Wheeler were the vice presidential nominees during this election year. And this election was decided when Southern states agreed to support the Republican nominee in return for the Murray.
1876.
That's correct. Number 11. Jesus wears a red robe and he looks to the sky before the crucifixion in this artist's painting, The Disrobing of Christ. This artist rearranged the layout of actual buildings. Stephen, Madeira.
El Greco.
That's correct. Number 12. This scientist's name is sometimes used for the system of CGS units. One law of this scientist states that the total electric flux of a closed Jacob Norwood.
Coulomb.
Say that again.
Coulomb.
Right now. Continue reading. Total electric flux of a closed surface is equal to the charge divided by permittivity. The namesake of 2 of Maxwell's 4 equations is one German scientist. Name? Madeira?
Les Gauss.
Gauss is correct. Yes, Gauss is correct. Sorry, I didn't do the question. 2 points for Madeira. Number 13. Tournament presents a golden net to players that have caught 64 bugs in this series installment by City Code. Renee, Madeira.
Is it Animal Crossing?
It is.
That's exactly.
Makes me happy when they get some gamers. Alright, 14. Germany led the Condor Legion in this war that also included the Jacob from Norwood.
Spanish Civil War.
Nothing. Yeah, Spanish Civil War. Sorry, Jacob, I gave points to you. Number 15, one novella. This character meddles in the lives of Nikolaus, Theodore, and Seppi before leaving the Austrian town of Isildur. This character takes the name Old Scratch in a story by Washington Irving. Daniel Webster sells his soul to what biblical character? Renee, Madeira.
The Devil.
That's correct. Number 16, Norman Foster designed a skyscraper at 30 St. Mary Axe in this city, assuming the name is Axe, with the Axe. In this city that is nicknamed the Garret. This city is home to a 95-story tall skyscraper designed by Renzo Piana that is nicknamed the Shard. Luke, Madeira.
London.
That's correct. This man produced a version of Hello Dolly, and he asks, where to get those eyes in another song. This man sang about trees of dark green and red roses too. Renee, Madeira.
Armstrong.
That's correct. 18. This organelle contains a malate aspartate shuttle, or NADH crossover, and ragged red fibers on a Gamori strain show a disease of this organelle. Cytochrome C and cristae can be found in what? Renee.
Mitochondria.
That's correct. Question 19. Emmanuel convinces this novel's protagonist to jump onto a moving fire truck on their lunch break before they go to Cafe Celestis. This novel's protagonist shoots a man on the beach 5 times, and this novel opens with the line, "Mother died today," or maybe yesterday. Marcel is the protagonist of the Norwood novel. Nicholas, Madeira.
The Stranger.
That's correct. Question 20. This legislation was filibustered in the Senate for 2 months before Lyndon Johnson was able. Luke, from Madeira.
Civil Rights Act of 1960.
That's correct. Final 10 questions of the lightning round. The first is, who's the boss? Given a vice president, or in some cases, multiple vice presidents, name the president they served under. Again, I'm going to give you the name of the vice president or vice presidents, and then you'll tell me the president they served under. So I'm just going to name them. Here we go. Al Gore. Luke from Madeira.
Clinton.
That's correct. Hannibal Hamlin and Andrew Johnson. Luke from Madeira.
Lincoln.
That's correct. Is Spiro Agnew and Gerald Ford. Stephen.
Nixon.
That's correct. Richard Nixon. Luke, Madeira.
Eisenhower.
That's correct. 25. Garrett Hobart and Teddy Roosevelt. Luke from Madeira.
McKinley.
That's correct. 26. Aaron Burr and George Clinton. Luke from Madeira.
Jefferson.
Jefferson is correct. Dick Cheney. Luke from Madeira.
Or Bush.
Which one?
W. Bush.
Thank you. That's correct. Humbert Humphrey.
Sorry.
Luke from Madeira.
Hoover.
Great, not. I'll take it, Lily, go.
Grant?
Nope, Humbert Humphrey was Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah, he ran in 1968 against Nixon.
Isn't his name Hubert? That must be a typo.
Yeah.
That's a typo. It's Hubert Humphrey.
Okay. It's technical. Very nice.
Both teams had the same disadvantage.
I mean, it clearly says that. Sorry, I was telling.
Yes, yes.
I was just
But I was
that-
a lot. I was
that
lying.
name- Well, that name seemed odd, but I was like, well, I don't know who it is, so I'm just gonna read it.
It reminds me of, it's like Humber from Lolita. No one should name their kid anything with Bert, in my opinion.
All right, so here we go. 29, buzzers ready. 29. Walter Mondale. Luke Madeira.
Reagan.
Right now. You're free to buzz. Any guess? Correct answer was Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
And then, final question, number 30, Chester or Nicholas. Madeira.
Cleveland.
That's correct. 2 points. All right, coaches. All right, teams. Good match. Good game. Hope that all of you have a good week. Final score, Madeira 119, Norwood